Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today, we're really digging into the sources surrounding Figma, the collaborative design software leader that went public not too long ago. And the big question, the one everyone seems to be asking, and kind of the mission for us today is Figma a good time to buy right now?
Yeah, that really is the essential question, isn't it? Because, look, this company, it's seen just extraordinary volatility since its IPO, really wild swings and all that chaos. Well, it's created this intense debate. You've got this expensive valuation on one side versus really impressive growth potential on the other. So we need to unpack what's happened, say, over the last 3 months, and then look ahead at some key catalysts that might really shift things.
Okay, definitely. And before we jump into all those details, just a quick reminder, we do love hearing from you, so please subscribe, like us, leave a comment below. And hey, if there's a specific company you want us to look into, just let us know in the comments. Okay, so let's unpack this Figma story. We kind of have to start with the sheer chaos of its entry into the public markets.
Back in August 2025, right, it made huge headlines.
Oh, it was a spectacle. Absolutely. The excitement was palpable. And that initial surge, massive. Shares jumped, I think, it's 250% on the very first day. But, that kind of euphoria, especially with these big IPOs, it often doesn't last. That huge pop, it gave way pretty quickly to a sharp correction. Analysts started looking harder at the growth versus that incredible price tag.
Right, and the big institutional money, they were a bit skeptical almost immediately, weren't they? Precisely. You saw institutional analysts like JP Morgan starting coverage, but typically with neutral or hold ratings, which, wasn't them saying it's a bad company, not at all. It was more skepticism about paying that premium price right out of the gate, basically saying, great company, but wow, this valuation leaves zero room for error.
Okay, so the market was initially sky high, but the analysts were already pumping the brakes a little. And that caution, it seems like it was validated pretty fast come September. You mentioned the Q2 earnings release. How does a company growing that fast kind of fumble?
Well, September 3rd, that was a really critical day. Figma reported Q2 earnings. And look, the good news was genuine. Revenue growth was strong, 41% year over year. Hit $249.6 million. That's fantastic growth. However, and this is the key bit, the company missed consensus earnings expectations by $1.15 per share.
Wait, hang on. With 41% revenue growth, how does a miss that small trigger a collapse in the stock?
Yeah, it seems small, but it wasn't really the size of the miss. It was what it signaled, especially given that sky-high valuation we just talked about. The market basically saw that miss as maybe the first crack in that whole growth at any cost, perfection expected story. And the reaction was immediate. Stock plunged, over 15% in after-hours trading? Just like that. And it caused this dramatic shift in sentiment. The sources we looked at showed a staggering 57.3% jump in short interest almost overnight.
Wow. So a lot more people suddenly betting against it.
Exactly. And then you saw the domino effect. Major brokerages, Morgan Stanley, Royal Bank of Canada, they started cutting their price targets down into the $65, $70 range.
Okay, wait. 65 to 70. For a company growing 41% with a strong product, that sounds incredibly bearish compared to that initial 250% pop. How do you square that?
It is intensely bearish, yeah. And it really comes down to future expectations. Those analysts they're looking at. As we moved into October, the volatility stuck around because the debate really focused in on one key metric, net dollar retention.
Okay, net dollar retention. Let's unpack that because it sounds critical. We see these numbers like 159% down to 129%. What exactly is that, and why is that 30-point drop such a threat?
That's a great question. So net dollar retention, or NDR, it basically tells you how much more money your existing customers are spending with you over time compared to last year. So anything over 100% means your current users are expanding. They're buying more licenses, maybe adopting new features, putting more teams onto Figma. Now, Figma's previous 159%, that was truly elite territory. It meant customers were just massively increasing their spending year after year. The drop to 129%, while still good, means that expansion is slowing down significantly. It suggests users aren't adopting new stuff as fast, or maybe possibly some are even downgrading or leaving. That 30-point drop, it's not just noise. In the SaaS world, that's like a warning signal.
Got it. So it's not just a disappointing number for the quarter, it's potentially a fundamental threat to the whole valuation model. Because, when we look at the valuation, it's way up there.
Absolutely. The sources really highlight this. Figma's trading at a price-to-sales ratio, PS, of 32, and a forward multiple of 153.
Let's quickly define those. PS of 32.
Right. So that tells you the market values every dollar of Figma's current revenue at $32, which is extremely high. And the forward multiple of 153, that's based on expected future earnings. That's even more, eye-watering.
Hmm.
To put 153 in perspective, it implies investors think Figma needs to keep growing at very high double digits for years just to justify today's price. That's what we mean by pricing and perfection. So when a key growth indicator like that retention metric slows down even a bit, those high multiples suddenly look really, really vulnerable.
Okay, that really clarifies the dilemma. High growth, but an even higher valuation that depends on sustained high growth.
But let's shift gears a bit. If we look past the stock chart chaos and those multiples, the actual underlying business seems pretty strong, doesn't it? It does, yeah. While those retention numbers raise serious questions that, frankly, they need to answer, we absolutely have to reiterate. 41% year-over-year revenue growth, that's phenomenal at their scale. And what's more, Figma isn't just growing fast. They've actually shown they can be profitable. They reported $103.99 million in net income over the last 12 months. So they're operating efficiently, too.
Right, and being profitable while growing that fast is pretty rare for a recent IPO in tech. That gives them a solid financial base. The market cap is still huge, around $34.8 billion, right? So the market still sees massive value there. But what about staying ahead? The competitive moat. In design tools, things change fast.
True. But Figma definitely has a lead in collaborative design. And what's really interesting, I think, is how they're actively trying to widen that moat by leaning into AI.
Ah, yes, the AI angle. They announced new AI features back in August, integrated with things like ChatGPT.
Correct. That partnership, those features, it immediately positions Figma right in the middle of this exploding AI productivity and generative design space. And strategically, it feels like an offensive move, maybe designed to directly combat that retention slowdown we talked about. If they roll out indispensable AI features, maybe that compels existing users to upgrade, to expand, potentially reversing that NDR decline.
It makes sense. That AI integration feels like a really key bullish point, shows they're not sitting still. So looking ahead now, it seems like that retention metric and just growth sustainability in general, that's what the market's laser focused on for the next big catalyst. When should people be watching?
Okay, the single most crucial date coming up is October 18th, 2025. That's when they release Q3 earnings for fiscal 25. This report, it's going to be like a critical report card. Can they keep revenue growth strong above 40%? Can they show margin improvement? And crucially, any guidance or sign that those retention trends are stabilizing or, ideally, turning around.
So October 19th, the day after, could be a huge day for the stock based on that report. Are there other things, maybe less obvious market events to keep an eye on?
Right. Beyond earnings, investors should probably be aware of some upcoming institutional activity. You've got a major technology ETF rebalance on November 1st, and then an institutional holdings update on December 9th. Now, these aren't directly tied to Figma's performance, but they reflect how big funds are shifting money around. They could trigger significant trading flows, buying or selling, just based on index rules or fund manager decisions.
Gotcha. External factors adding another layer. Okay, let's talk about the wild card stuff, the rumors, the speculation, things that could make the stock move fast, maybe unrelated to the core numbers.
Yeah, these rumors often tie back into those strategic moves we mentioned, like these unconfirmed reports suggesting a major platform partnership is maybe imminent with a big cloud provider or an AI leader.
Ah, okay, that would tie right into the generative design push. If
Yeah.
that got confirmed, that could definitely ease some valuation fears, at least for a while.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Then there's also, M&A chatter, industry speculation about potential interest from maybe larger enterprise software companies. And that speculation is kind of linked to the valuation. If the stock price stays volatile or moderates a bit, Figma might start looking like a more attractive takeover target for someone wanting to dominate that whole digital workflow space.
Interesting. And if they don't get acquired, there are rumors about internal changes too, maybe trying to fix that retention issue directly.
Exactly. There are rumors circulating that Figma might be looking at new pricing tiers or maybe restructuring some of their enterprise contracts. Now, if they did something like that before year end, it would look like a very direct attempt to boost those NDR metrics because changing pricing can immediately impact how much existing customers spend.
Makes sense. But there's always a flip side. There's a downside risk rumor floating around too, isn't there, about lockups?
Yes. There's some specific speculation about a possible accelerated lockup expiry for the pre-IPO shareholders. So for listeners, that means the restrictions stopping early investors and employees from selling their shares might lift sooner than planned. If that happens, you could suddenly see a lot more shares available to trade. That's the float. And that could potentially cause significant short-term volatility, likely downward pressure, as those early holders decide to cash out.
Okay, that's a good overview of the potential swings. So let's try and synthesize the risk side. What are the main worries for someone looking at Figma now?
Well, the primary company-specific risks seem pretty clear. First, the potential for that growth deceleration to continue, especially if net dollar retention doesn't stabilize in Q3. Second, just the ongoing impact of those really high valuation multiples, that PS of 32. The market's pricing them for perfection, so any stumble gets punished hard. But, the mitigating factors are also strong. The brand is top tier in its space, their competitive position in collaborative design is solid, and those strategic moves into AI do offset some of that execution and valuation risk.
Right. So pulling it all together, what does this mean for you, the investor, trying to decide if now's the time to buy Figma? What's the kind of overall consensus from the sources we've looked through?
Well, it seems the near-term path is going to be almost entirely about Figma showing it can reignite that growth, fix the slowing retention, and really get some leverage from those new AI investments. But despite that big September drop, the overall picture from the analysis we reviewed is actually maybe surprisingly resilient. The consensus gave it an overall bullish rating, 8 out of 10, which suggests the stock could be attractive for maybe two types of people. Short-term traders playing those upcoming catalysts, especially Q3 earnings, and also long-term investors looking to capture that broader structural growth in design software. That sums it up nicely. It's this core tension, isn't it? You got this really high growth potential, that 41% revenue jump, the AI stuff, smashing right into a very high valuation, and those frankly concerning retention numbers dropping from 159% down to 129%.
And that really brings us to the critical question, I think, that every investor needs to weigh before October 18th. Can Figma's product strength and its AI innovation drive adoption fast enough to actually reverse that NDR decline? Or is that metric going to keep weighing on the stock's premium price until we see those Q3 results? That retention number, it feels like the fulcrum everything's balancing on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as a final thought as we wrap up, the sources consistently mention Figma's strong competitive moat in collaborative design. But maybe something for you, the listener, to keep an eye on is whether those rumors about restructuring pricing tiers actually happen. Because if they do change how they charge, could that instantly fix the retention problem on paper, or might it just be masking a deeper growth challenge that could pop up later? Definitely something fascinating to explore on your own. Thank you for joining us for this analysis. We'll catch you on the next one.